the house, come on. See, I'm from that state that's south of the border. Otara, birthplace of that God-side soldier. Teezall boy, I rep like the weather. Death in one.
Talafalava, Misilei, Kia ora, Nisam Bulamanaka, Whakalawhalahi atu, Taloha ni, and tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Richard Misilei. I'm one of the brothers involved with the Fresh Truth Ministries. And if you had caught our introduction video as to why we're doing these podcast episodes, Christ in the community, you'll understand it is a lot different to the normal podcast that you see of Ronji. So that's one of the differences. Ronji isn't here at the moment, at the time of the recording, that we're into a 4th week of our level 4 lockdown here in Auckland. So that's the main reason why he's not here. And the second is, if you're watching this via video, you'll notice this the most, that we're not in the studio, in Canaan's studio. We're coming from my residence as well as my guest residence. And with Kanan missing, it means we're missing our tech man and our tech support. So I want to ask for you to please bear with us if the quality of these Fresh Truth episodes aren't as high as normal, but we are going to try our best. What is of high quality is our God, the highest of all highest qualities. And the verse from Romans 11:36 says, "For from him and through him and to him are all things. To him be the glory forever. Amen." And I love the verses before that as well. Oh, the depth of the riches, both of the wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments and unfathomable his ways. For who has known the mind of the Lord, or who became his counselor, or who has first given to him that it would be paid back to him? Man, that just shows the amazing mind of our God that is far above and beyond anything that we know of. And then no one can be a counselor to him, that he is the first and the Alpha and the Omega. If this is your first time listening and you're wondering what Fresh Truth is all about, Fresh Truth is a group of Bible-believing Christians from Pacifica backgrounds, but we all live in South Auckland, in Aotearoa. We love God's word. We love sharing the good news of the gospel of Jesus to others, and we love standing up for the biblical truth in our local neighbourhoods, families, communities, and nation. The fresh part of our name pertains to our Pacifica heritage, and our truth, the truth to the Fresh Truth looks at our passion for biblical truth and God's infallible and sufficient word. Now, earlier I mentioned that this lockdown we're currently in has forced us to change tact in the way we bring about this Fresh Truth episode. But the one thing that was planned before all of this was the appearance of our next guest. Now, I'm getting the opportunity to interview this man, and it's a proud honor for me because he's one of my close brothers. He's someone that I'm journeying with at the moment. He's a proud gentleman of the 274. He's a youth worker, he's a community worker, he's a business owner, he's a muay and boxing trainer. He's very handsome. He is all the way from the Cook Islands, the man, TUTAVAKE, Teezall PETERO.
Oh, shucks. I can't wait to meet that guy you just introduced.
Man, how are you, Tuakana?
Yeah, I'm good. Also, I'm good, man. I'm good. How's things?
Yeah, all good with me. I was going to ask, how's the lockdown treating you at this time?
Oh, just it feels like we're on home D.
It does feel. That's what I said to my wife. Is it feels that like it's nice being home, but then the limitations that we're set under makes it feel like what you said, a home D.
Yeah. I mean, just going out for a walk doesn't feel cool anymore. Hey, it's just like, oh no, that's bad. Don't do that.
Oh man. Meitaki for joining us for this episode. Just want to give you the opportunity to maybe introduce yourself and your family.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And don't worry, man. For you, do anything, man. You're the man. You're the man. So,
I'll pay you later.
Thank you. My name is TUTAVAKE, or most people know me as Teezall. Born and raised, I'm a New Zealand-born Cook Islander, born and raised here in Otara. And same story as most, as in Pacifica. Like my parents came from the Cook Islands, Atu and Meitaki, came here to New Zealand separately. met here at Ponsonby, the whole Ponsonby era.
Yeah.
And and then so I'm the youngest of three. But there's heaps of us because my parents were like that. Hey, that whole village, look after everyone.
Yeah.
And raised around everyone. So that was us. I'm the only one to be born out here, Middlemore. Everyone else was Flash. I think it was the Auckland Women's Hospital back then.
Yes,
And,
National Women's Hospital.
National Women's Hospital. Yeah, so they think they're cool. But so when I hear my siblings say they're Otarians, oh, hold on. You're not Middlemore? You're not Middlemore? No, but yeah, and I'm married to Ruth and my son Journey, and my 14-year-old who acts 21. I blame the Cook Island side of him. And my wife's from the beautiful islands of Samoa. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. No. Shouldn't say that. Shouldn't say that.
No, that's a help me. Help me. So ring the cops. Nah, jokes.
Oh man, awesome, bro. Bro, are there, we might touch on it later, but are there any other passions that you have?
Oh, heaps.
Yeah.
My passion is family, love family. Love culture, love the Lord. Music. Well, I'm not good at it. I just like the sound of it. Hey, the groove of it. Sports. Just the norms, really. I don't know if it's norms, but yeah, heaps of other passions.
Yeah. And I know one of your passions in league is the Mighty Rabbitohs for yourself.
Oh, the beautiful Mighty Rabbitohs, Red Fern. It's all about the ghetto. So ghetto supporting ghetto. No, and fishing. Go fishing. Oh,
that's true. Yeah.
Fishing.
Yeah. If there's anyone I know loves fishing, that'll be you, bro. Oh man. We will move on to what we call for this type of episode. So for those who are kind of joining us, and I mentioned it earlier, is these are kind of more focused on Christ in the community. That's how we're theming these episodes. And with when Ronji does his interviews, he does the Fresh Truth 5, but here we're going to do the Fresh Truth 3. Because we representative of the Holy Trinity. Okay, no, I don't want to get all theological around that. But the Fresh Truth 3, your first one is what's your favorite food?
Favorite food, honestly, anything made by my aunties, my mum. Just that soul, that goodness. The island, it's island food, and I can't be particular with which one.
Yeah.
But island food all day.
Yeah, man, and I hear you on that, and I worry because we're New Zealand born, and myself being a useless cook, that when that generation goes, like, I don't know if we'll get that quality,
We're gonna suffer, and I'm just talking about myself. I'll probably get skinny. Because I'm not gonna eat their goodness.
Nah, I agree, because I feel like I need to really go to my parents and just learn like how they do the way they cook their meai, because I just don't cook like that. I just throw everything in to be roasted.
I think that's us all.
Roasted or boiled and so forth. Cool. Sorry, bro. So the second one is, what music do you listen to?
Oh, the gospel, just gospel. I don't listen to anything else.
I'm not giving away any Christian of the Year awards, bro. So.
Oh, aren't you? Okay. That 90s hip hop and R&B. Well, I love all kinds. Because there's times I love grunge. I love that hip hop, R&B. All sorts of music. But honestly, that gospel music, when you're in the feels, you just want to feel good, and
and that reminds me, you do a bit of rapping, Christian gospel rapping.
Once upon a time. And whenever the Lord allows me to do it, then I have, and man, and it's been, I've done music a bit, but doing hip hop, Christian hip hop has been the best. Hey, you're
Wow.
able to express yourself, and that's what hip hop's all about. Hey, it's the expressing yourself, and so yeah. Thank you for taking me to Christian hip hop. Shucks, I feel privileged. I feel honored, like that.
And I guess I use it too because the with the podcast that we have with Ronji, we have the awesome Imani, and his song is the introductions to those podcasts.
Yeah.
But we thought for these ones too, with yourself and our next guest that we're going to interview, we're going to be playing your music. So really appreciate you, Vinny, Carl, for that music that's coming through.
AKA the Church Boys, fire.
Yeah. So there's a heavyweight cipher. We'll plug that in. It's actually on iTunes, and that's the music that you would have heard introducing this podcast. Cool, man. Oh, awesome. And then the last of the Fresh Truth 3, who's your favorite character in the Bible apart from Jesus?
Her name is JL.
JL.
Her name is JL. Yeah. To me, she reminds me of my grandmother. Just like straight to the point. Hear the voice of the Lord, knows her role, and just like look and kill somebody. Nah, I said that's a bit drastic. Short story about JL, but she it was everything in her beauty. Like I don't know what she physically looks like, but just her the way she just the way she went about herself in that little story. Look it up, guys. Look it up. But yeah, the story of JL. Very beautiful story.
And you'll find that in, so I was just quickly looking, is Judges 4.
Judges, yeah.
Yeah. And her story is about her killing that commander, Sisera. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah, I didn't want to pronounce it and butcher it.
I don't even know if
I am a phobe. I am a phobe. And so, and killing him. But just the way she treated him, like the milk, warmth, and made him feel good about dying. No, jokes.
How does her story relate to your grandma?
My grandmother is her nickname was Tiger Woman, and she was known in Achu or around the Cook Islands that no man could hurt her. And that nickname speaks about her strength and her fight and her and for me, like she loved the Lord hard, loved the Lord hard. The old school morning prayers, evening prayers, us kids falling asleep during it. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's where the seed was planted way back then. So that's how she, I mean, just her fierceness and her ability to honor the Lord. Yeah, that's where I draw the connection.
Awesome, cool. So yeah, if you want to read that story, just go to Judges 4, and her story is found in there. It is a pretty impressive story. Like the part that gets me is when she puts the stake through the guy's head. Oh my gosh,
through the temple. Yeah. I just think, man, awesome. Like, and it doesn't speak of her second guessing. Hey, you know what I mean? That's another beautiful thing. Yeah, she's sure this is what the Lord wants, and just like bang. And remember, think of the time, she's not a murderer. She's not a but yeah, I just think it's a beautiful story for me. Because the Lord was honored at the end of it, as always.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that, T. So we're just going to get into our questions.
Cool.
So can you tell us about how you kind of got into community and youth work?
It was pretty much a slow progression. When I say slow, I mean slow. Like, I mean, it started from church and just started from church. That going forward and flip.
You know what? The question I should ask you, Teez, and can't believe I missed it, was how did you come to faith in Christ first? Say we'll establish that first, and then maybe we'll go to the community side.
Yeah, cool. It was actually through my sister. It was actually through my sister that I came to know the Lord. my sister went to this church, a garage church up Dirella ways, and she went to this church, and I used to come home after trainings and a long day of school and studying in the library at school. I used to come home, and my dad used to be like, "Hey, go get your sister," and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, what?" Because it's a fair walk from Otara, where I stay, to Dirella up Readout ways, and so I used to go, and every time I got there, it was dark, and they're in the garage. They'll be singing, praying, and all of that, and I'd just be like trying to get my sister's attention, and hey, and I used to tell my sister, "Hey, hurry up, Dad wants you home. Let's go." The whole, because otherwise I'll get a hiding. And so it was and it was that. Like I didn't really have much of a thought about the Lord, and but it was a lot of that, just going to get her, to be honest, going to get her, and then in that little garage and the praying and the loud music, I saw dudes that roam around here in the streets. Hey, and I saw them in there praying, hands to the Lord. I was like, what the heck is, from a PIC background, like, what the heck is going on in here, and then I just saw they loved something, and I didn't know what it was. Hey, and I just thought, man, these dudes are weird. But then, the next day at school, I'll see them around, and I'll see them around in the neighborhood, and I'm like, they're weirdos, to be honest, And so it was night after night of going of going to get my sister, that eventually I kind of just like went in, and and it was the way they greeted me, man. It was like, it's like they cared for me, but they didn't even know me, and that was weird to me. Hey, that was really weird. And their smiles, I remember one of the main things was their smiles, like ear to ear smiles. Like, what? How? What is making you so happy? Hey, and and there was a lot of that stuff that kind of triggered me. And then 97 in 97. This was 97, and then I found my way. I followed some of those guys, awesome dudes, and dudettes. I followed them to South City. There was an evening church, and if you don't know South City, for those who are going, South City, I remember that. It was a nightclub. It was a nightclub the night before, but on Sundays it became a church. So when you went in there, you still smell alcohol, you still smell a lot of that stuff. I found the Lord. I found the Lord there. I gave my life, and I gave my life there, surrounded by those dudes from that garage, their little church garage, and they've been pretty much supporting me since. I gave my life there, and the rest is history, really. And life got hard, because the other thing is, I heard one of the brothers that I know in the street now, and he's still around here, and he was sharing his testimony. I won't mention his name in case he is. What did you say my name for? No, but he shared his testimony, and because I know him from around here, and I knew he. The beautiful thing is all these dudes I was surrounded with never portrayed that they were perfect, and because when you think of church, you think, no, they're perfect. Especially that era. That era was, oh man, you had to be perfect. But he spoke real. He spoke real to me, and that's pretty much where the journey began, and life got hard. But no, it became beautiful.
Do you mind, what do you mean, like it became hard?
It became hard because I was raised. Because when you look at the commandments, you look at all of that stuff, and like for me, I wasn't raised around that. Although I went church, I just went. I went because my my grandmother went there. Like I didn't go to study or whatever. And life got hard because I realized at that moment, you mean I've been living wrong?
Right. Okay.
Hey, I've been selfish. I've been, and it became hard because now I had to unlearn I don't know if unlearn's the word, but
Mm.
I had to be retaught about, shucks, I can't do this
Yeah. Okay.
because that doesn't honor the Lord.
Yeah. Right.
And
Okay. Okay. I get what you mean.
yeah, that's
Awesome.
that. Yeah, and that can be difficult, because
Yeah.
you're working on self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that what would make you hold on then at that time? Because if it gets hard, the natural response for us humans is to get out. They go to a point of comfort or easiness, but something made you hold on.
Yeah. For me, it was the fact that in this, because came from the streets, and
Yeah.
hanging out with people, is if you sacrifice your life for somebody, like you're a hero. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the ultimate thing, is if you put yourself in physical harm for someone else, you're looked up like, damn man, this
Mm.
guy had my back, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I found that this guy, all those thousands of years ago, gave his life for me. You know what I mean? Like for me, that
Yeah.
was a big deal. Like that sunk in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing that held on. Like, yeah, but remember, this guy gave his life for you,
Mm.
because there's a God that sacrificed his son for you. And for me, it was like, damn, I can't let this dude down. Like, oh, not that he's a dude, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's almighty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just feel, I felt like, shucks, he sacrificed his life. The best thing I can do is do that to mine, and that's what kept me going. That's
Mm.
what kept me going. Hey, is the sight on the cross.
Oh, awesome.
Mm.
That's very beautiful to hear. As you were kind of talking about it, the verse that came to mind was Romans 10, 14 and 15. And it goes, how then can they call on the one in whom they have not believed? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone to preach? And how can they preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. And it
Mm.
just shows the importance of sharing the gospel. But the
Yeah.
other side to that too, which is how you got drawn in, was out the character of the Christians. I don't know how
Yeah.
they are now, but that was something that was attractive to you. You need both. You need the gospel preached
Yeah.
plainly and in truth and simply for people to believe, but then the character needs to back that up. And I guess that's what you were seeing.
Yeah. I mean, because for us, it's all about character. And I solely believe this. Like, it's the first 20 seconds upon meeting somebody, if this conversation or this relationship's gonna work.
Yeah.
Hey, within the first 20 seconds. And I truly believe that. And like, although I was there waiting for an hour at their little garage, but like it was the things that I noticed, like you said, the smiles,
Yeah.
the character of these guys really sung out to me. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, awesome. Cool. Then thank you for that too. We'll move on to, I guess we'll go back
Cool.
to that other question about what got you into youth and community and youth work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And so that begun this journey into, because I wanted to be everything else but a youth worker and
Yeah.
working in the community. Hey, those dreams were everywhere else. But yeah, it was the helping people.
Mm.
Hey, and being at church, I saw adults, and I saw their kids going through a hard time.
Mm.
And then I knew, oh, like that was once me. Like, that's still me.
Yeah.
In some cases, that's still me, trying to find your way in this walk, and trying to balance a life and the walk.
Yeah.
Hey, and trying to, or back then was trying to uphold a certain criteria that people had that were supposedly Christian.
Mm.
Hey, like, if you're going through some stuff, like, oh no, you don't show it, you don't cry, you just be
Right.
the Lord has got you, and all
Yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me it was like, nah, you gotta cry, you gotta be expressive about your feelings, say how it's
Yeah.
hey, show people, life's hard, but the Lord still reigns here,
Mm.
like, and that was the battle. And so that and it was those church brothers and sisters that gave me the opportunity to look after their kids. Like I was still at high school, you know, and one of the brothers was like, "Hey T, can you look after the boys?" You know, and I was like, "Oh damn, the weight of responsibility." Shucks, I'm struggling to look after myself. But I mean, for me, those were the training grounds. Hey, because doing that for a dear brother of mine, and then you know, being seen. I mean, you know, hanging out with the boys and coaching at school, coaching the younger ones, and then at church, you know, giving that responsibility of leading youth. And then I was like, oh shucks, like this was all great training grounds for where I am now, you know, and I can't forget that. That it was through the church and through brothers that trusted, brothers and sisters who trusted me, to and opportunities that came that got me into doing community work, youth work, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So what kind of things are you doing now in terms of community work and youth work?
Yeah, man, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much that we're doing now. You know, fast forward all these years, and honestly, like I've been doing the work so long. Well, I don't see it as work. I mean, I've been in my calling. I've been in my calling that long that I've been blessed to help and support generations of youth now. Hey, you know, like about three or four generations now of youth, you know, like started with our older brother, and then it's the little brother, and then it's the little brother, now it's the kids. And now it's the kids, and sometimes it's those same original kids, you know, you know, who are adults now, and they still need guidance, just like I need guidance, and I lean on you, you know, guys like yourself. And I just like, and that's what we do. Like, I don't want to categorize it into, because I feel like that'll rob the calling that God has allowed me to be in. But that's pretty much what we do now, you know. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. As if you come and you hang around, well, you're in this journey with us, eh? You know, and so, and it's the same work being continued today. If that makes sense.
No, that's cool. I want to get to how does faith in Christ inform or shape your youth community work?
Well, firstly, it's my fuel. And how to explain that is, I've seen community workers, youth workers, social workers come and go. In my time doing youth work and work in the community, I've seen them come and go. I've seen visions blow up, and I've seen visions just burn to the ground. And so for me, that I've seen it and I've been through it, and the only thing I can give it to is the fuel is the Lord. The fuel for me to wake up, no matter how I'm feeling, and still go out there and still be the big brother out here. Try to be helpful and real. Try to be real. And I remember one of the best lines I've ever heard was from Alan Va'a, who's a OG youth worker, as most people would know. And he says, like, there's a greater love. Hey, you know, there's a greater love, and I just stumped myself, but there's a greater love, and there's no higher love than the Lord. Hey, you know, and so I can give my love, but that love has an end. If that makes sense. Hey, that love has an end, but the Lord's love is never ending. Hey, you know, and so that's one of the take-ons that I have is to share that greater love, and that greater love is the Lord. And no, I'm not one of those dudes that force it down people's necks. Hey, that's just not me. That's just not the way I do. But yeah, I try to be an example of it though. Try to be, eh?
Yeah. But when you get the opportunity to share the gospel, plain and simply, you go for it, eh?
Oh, I'll go for it 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, because I mean, because that's the gift I have. That's the gift, and I want to share that gift. And I mean, the only thing I feel that I hold valuable is the Lord. And if I value it that much, and I have an opportunity to share it, I will. Hey, so I mean, whether or not they take it, hey, that's another thing. But as long as I've shared my heart, hey, like with people, I don't tell people that this is all me. Nah, this is the Lord's work. Like, hey, like I can't take anything of it, because without the Lord, all of this, I know I wouldn't be here without the Lord. That's one thing I know for sure. All the workings and all the things that I've ever accomplished so far is nothing without the Lord. So yeah, if there's an opportunity to share it, oh man, 100%, 100%, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I remember Alan talking about that greater love, and he was always saying how you're right. What you were saying, you have your love, and it's because we're human. It's a imperfect love. It's a love that has gaps in it, but the greater love of our King is perfect, has no blemish, and so you got to draw on that to really love people who are imperfect and can test you.
Yeah, because not everyone will love the local gangster or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's our own love, you know what I mean? But with the Lord's love, you can love somebody like that. Hey, like to me, like if we go into that space, like real brief, if we see a patch member, people go, oh man, look at he's a patch member.
Yeah.
Right. I just go, well, nah, he's an Otarian. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Lord loves him too.
Yeah.
He might not know it, or he might and just be like on his own journey. But for me, is like, if you use the lens of the Lord, if you use the Lord's love, like, you learn to love everybody.
Yeah.
Hey,
awesome. That's awesome. If I can just touch back too, if we can go back on with Alan Va'a, and you were part of his youth organization. Well, I shouldn't say his, but because he'll be too humble to admit it. But it was all of you guys that kind of drove it. It was 274 Youth Corps, and what I really admired about 274 Youth Corps was Christ being the center of your youth work. Because if we look at youth work and social work and community work, they're really honorable industries. It's an honorable work. It's much needed. But I say this respectfully, but it only takes you to a certain level of getting people into a comfortable life, getting people fed, which are vital and important things, but it doesn't go past into the spiritual, which is eternal. And so that's what I found different with 274 Youth Corps, was you guys went to that level of basic life needs, emotional needs, mental needs for our youth, but then you went further into the spiritual or the soul condition of that youth person, and you try to point them to that greater love. Is it?
Yeah, for sure. One thing I loved about 274 was 274 Youth Corps and that era. Was the huge emphasis on spirituality. I mean, in society now, spirituality is looked down upon. It's frowned upon, and anytime you mention Jesus, it's kind of like, hey, don't swear around me.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, what? Like, and I think that for me, that was the difference. The difference was a high focus on spirituality, because a lot of youth workers out there, a lot of community workers try and do the me as the person, I am the be all and end all.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, but you don't go home with these kids. You don't go home with these people.
Yeah.
Right? You might be spending 3 hours, 4 hours a day. That's still 20 hours they're not with you.
Yeah.
Hey, so you cannot be the be all and end all. And I think that's where a lot of people make their vital mistake and get, and so for us was, you look at the physical, mental, all of that stuff. But it's held together through the spiritual side of a person, right? And so if we're not there, we know, because the Lord is omnipresent, right? So if the emphasis is on spirituality and our gift in spirituality is the Lord, well, that's where we're going to take the focus. And that's when, if we're not around, we have to trust the Lord that he'll do the rest. We do what we can do possibly. And let the Lord do the impossible.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, like, I know that's been said so many times, but that's the way it has to be for it to work. And I mean, a lot of people, like in the community, talk about, oh man, we need a 274 or 274 youth corps. You know, that was one of the best times, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, the work never stopped. I was a part of 274 and we're still out here. You know what I mean? We're still out here doing the work. The thing is, we just don't have the pretty lights. We don't have the funding, but the work is still going. And that can only be attributed to the Lord, to be honest, because then everyone else has faded away. And I could have easily faded away too. Hey, you know, and those connections with a lot of those young people who are awesome adults now, you know, no matter where their path is or how it looks right now, at the end of the day, our connection to those people is not a spiritual one. Hey, you know, and I mean, that's what's held that longevity for it to me. Hey, is the spiritual aspect and the focus on the Lord. Like, it was one of the best times. I've never been in a job where you can openly express your love for the Lord and not be hounded for it, you know. Excuse me, sorry. And not be hounded for it, not be frowned upon, you know, with it. I mean, outside of that space, there were people in the community even now that still frown upon it, even though now it's more like our poly brothers and sisters who are frowning upon it too. And that's cool, that's their journey, but don't dim my light. Hey, don't dim my light. Don't it's worked for me. Hey, you've asked for my my support in your work. Don't dim what makes me, what fuels me. And so now that work is still being spoken about, and it's just, they're still wondering what the X factor is. And I keep saying it, the X factor was Jesus, like, because that's all we had at the time. Hey, that's all we had.
I think that's so important that you touched on that. And you're right, like, there's still years, even though 274 Youth Corps is gone, there's still that lingering effect that people are, man, the good old days of 274 Youth Corps. And you're right, the X factor was always God. It was always him and the hand that he had on that organization. So awesome.
I mean, the amount of praying that went on. Hey, you know, for our neighborhood in those dark times. Hey, there were people, brothers like yourself and others, many others, that would meet up early in the morning and pray for our neighborhood, and still do. You know, and I think that's stuff that I personally highlight, because hardly anyone would talk about it or whatever. But I highlight the fact that brothers from South Auckland, from Māngere, Papatoi, would come together, meet in Otara back then, and pray early hours of the morning. Like, that's things people don't know. You know, people don't know that people, others from the neighborhood, would sacrifice time with their families and sleep, and come and pray in our neighborhood and pray for our neighborhood. And for me, I'll never forget that stuff. Hey, so when stuff goes down in Māngere and stuff, and I can't go and physically do anything, like, who am I? But the best thing we can do is pray together.
Amen.
Awesome.
Oh, Shoti, hey, that's kind of brought us to the end of our this podcast episode. The first one for Christ in the Community. Meitaki, brother, Tokana, thank you for your time. Do you have any kind of last words?
Yeah, man, love the Lord with all your heart, eh? Love the Lord with all your heart. Like, sometimes we can be bitter, and I've said this before, like, no matter what your situation looks like, no matter where you think you are in life, and things might not be going right, you know, and we've all been there, we can all relate. but the Lord is in control. That's the one thing you got to understand. He's on the throne. He reigns, and he is always in control, no matter what it may look like or feel like right now in your human states, in all your humanness. No matter what it looks like, the Lord is in control. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, on that note, yeah, thank you again, brother, from the crew. Thank you for the one person that's still listening at this time. It's probably my mum. But
And my wife.
But appreciate everyone's time, and thank you to everyone, and yeah, stay blessed.
Straight from that front line that'll make you quiver. I'm a full-time sold-out gospel lifer. On a daily, fence to surround me, but gapping with that weak crap, your excuses bore me. You know the truth, but you choose to ignore. Hell is real, homie, you've been told before. Offended by my words, then you should hear your own. Actions speak louder than words, killing the flow. You don't know the struggle till you walk with God. Only real men hold it down for the Lord. To live right, stand right, fight for it all.